Heyo, what is up, everybody? Coach Chad here, the CEO of the Next Level Coaching Academy, and your host for the Fit CEO podcast. In the month of July, we hit a PR for most downloads in the Fit CEO podcast history. So, thank you guys for listening. I really do appreciate it. I record these podcasts once a week. I enjoy every time that I do it. This is although obviously this helps NLCA grow as a business, I would say that this is definitely just more of a passion project for me. I love coming on here. I love educating. I love talking on certain things. And I have a lot of fun doing this. So thank you guys for listening. And thank you for continuing to grow the podcast. I don't run any ads to this. I don't even really talk about it that much on my social medias, but it continues to grow. And that tells me that one, you guys are enjoying the content. And two, you guys are referring the podcast out to other individuals. So right now, that's really its only source of growth. And I love to hear that it is growing at this organic rate. So once again, thank you guys for referring friends. And thank you guys for listening, subscribing, downloading, doing all the fun stuff. All right, let's dive into today's episode. Today, we're going to be talking about agencies. All right, so first, let me define what an agency is, and then I'll get into my spiel here. Today will probably be a little bit more of a rant style. So what an agency is technically they help you either hire, train, or manage certain aspects of your business, right? So maybe they hire a specific role, they train that role, they manage that role on an ongoing basis, or maybe they just help you hire that role and train that role, then they pass them off to you to manage, all right? So that's an agency. Other agencies, aside from ones that do like the hiring and the training and the managing, you might bring in an agency to, run your ads. You might bring in an agency to do some more marketing material, things of that nature. I'm going to be speaking more specifically to the agencies that help you hire, train, manage, or hire and train certain aspects of your business. Okay. So the reason I'm recording this podcast is I'm seeing a massive increase in the use of agencies with online fitness coaching CEOs, and they're leveraging these agencies. And the reason they're doing it is, here's what they think, and hopefully I can talk about the cons of using these agencies today, and hopefully I can open up some eyes to the better way to go about it. But here's the notion that CEOs of online fitness coaching companies are currently operating under. They think they're operating under the guise of delegation. They think they're operating under the guise of, I'm going to delegate out to this expert in the field to hire this role for me, to train this role for me, and to manage this role for me. And they think that this is the right thing to do because they've heard other, business experts and things of that nature say, you should just delegate, you should just delegate, you should just delegate. And then they think that they're buying back their time to focus on whatever else they're focusing on. Delegation is a great thing, and delegation is a massive tool, but delegation comes after your own expertise in learning how to hire, train, and manage. Okay. It's not, I'm going to delegate the hire, the training, the managing. It's, I'm going to learn how to hire. I'm going to learn how to train, and I'm going to learn how to manage so that I can properly delegate what I'm hiring for, what I'm training this individual to do, and what I'm managing this individual to do, so that I can delegate those tasks out to that person. Okay. So let's begin the rant. Here's the issue with using these agencies. Like I said before, the CEO thinks that they're doing a good thing because they're delegating out the hiring, the training, and the managing, and they're replacing that time with whatever else they're focusing on. I'm here to tell you right now that whatever you're replacing your time with is not as valuable as you learning the skill of hiring, training, and managing. If you're at the point where you are using an agency to hire, train, and manage, that tells me that you have aspirations of growing a team. If you are going to grow a successful team, and if you are going to scale to the rate that you want to scale, the most valuable skill is not sales, is not lead generation, is not marketing. The most valuable skill is learning how to hire, is learning how to train, is learning how to manage, and is learning how to lead. And if you are offloading that to somebody else who is not in your company, who does not understand your company culture, that does not understand your mission, that does not understand the team that you're trying to build, then you are handing over control to this agency on the most important aspect of your business that is relevant to scaling, which is your ability to hire, your ability to train, your ability to manage, your ability to lead, your ability to build a company culture. It's going to make it impossible for you to scale. It's going to make it extremely, extremely hard. And the way that I view it is it's short term, right? So it's short term gain for long term pain. And I'll break that down, right? In the short term, you're like, man, I'm so stressed. I'm so busy. I don't know if I have time to hire this person. I don't know if I have time to train this person. I don't know if I have time to manage this person. Let me just hire an agency to do it. Well, the long-term ramifications of that is this. That agency isn't going to be there forever. They're not a part of your company, right? They're not your in-house recruiting and training and hiring and managing, right? They're external. They have tons of other clients as well. It's not just you that they're focused on, right? So that's one con, is if you are neglecting learning this skill, if you are pushing off learning this skill of knowing what to hire for, of knowing how to train, of knowing how to manage, and you are relying on an external source, that's unreliable. It's totally out of your control. The second thing, and like I said, this is all for your short-term gain, but it's all going to create this long-term pain, right? The second thing is you just are handing over the keys of creating your company culture once again to somebody who's not in your company culture. And we have 30 staff members now, and I believe one of our strong suits is we do have a really good company culture, and that took a lot of effort. We didn't use agencies. We didn't bring agencies in to hire people. We went through the hiring process. We learned how to hire. We learned how to train. We learned how to manage. And the plus of that is you have complete control over who you let into your company, of the company culture that you're building. Is it aligned with your company tenets? Is it aligned with your company mission statement? If you're handing that over to somebody else, the answer is no. And you won't have control of the company that you're building, of the staff that you're building. And maybe 6 months down the road, a year down the road, 2 years down the road, you're like, holy crap, I've used agencies to literally hire every single role, and I don't like anybody that I hired. So there's a lot of reasons. There's a lot of issues that I have with especially, and man, the thing that really bothers me is I'm seeing a lot of new people using agencies. They've never hired for the first time. They've never managed for the first time. They never trained for the first time, and they're leveraging these agencies. And the reason they're doing it is because they're neglecting or they're pushing off having to learn a new skill. It's very uncomfortable. Learning how to hire somebody, learning how to train somebody, learning how to manage people is extremely uncomfortable. But if you neglect that skill, I promise you it's going to bite you in the ass. I promise you it's going to bite you in the ass. It is the most important skill, above your ability to generate leads, above your ability to market, above your ability to sell. The most important skill if you're trying to scale is your ability to bring in the right people, train those people, manage those people, and build a company culture. And if you neglect to learn that skill and you just have somebody else do it, I promise you're not going to have the type of business that you want. And then secondly, like I said, when that agency isn't there and you have all these staff and you have no idea how to manage them, you have no idea how to train them, you have no idea how to continue to hire, it's going to put you in a very, very difficult place. It's going to put you in a very, very difficult place. All right, let me look at my notes here. So not learning the skill, right? So that's one. If you're not learning the skill, you are not growing. You are not getting better as an entrepreneur. Number two, delegating this to an agency means it's completely out of your control, right? So if it's completely out of your control, that means you're not in control of the people that are being let into your company and the company culture that you're building. That's the second problem. The third problem is it's going to be very hard for you to manage these individuals, right? So a lot of these agencies, you bring them in, they hire, they train. Some of them don't manage ongoing, right? And if they do manage ongoing, it's not management that falls under the realm of what you want people to be managed on. And it's not management under the guise of using your company tenants to manage this individual, right? So managing is going to be extremely hard. If you bring them in to hire and train, and then they pass off the management to you because you didn't hire that person, because you didn't train that person, managing that person becomes 3 times as hard. And then if they do hire, train, and manage, The downside to that is they're not managing in a way that's aligned with your company values and your company tenets. And that's all really management is. Management, yes, is making sure they check off the boxes and they do their things, but it's also leadership, and leadership in the sense of instilling your company values in these people so they operate under the guise that you want them to operate under. And if you're having somebody do that that is not in your company, it makes it next to impossible for that to happen. So number one, you're ignoring learning the skill. Number two, it's out of your control if you do use an agency. Number three, it's going to be hard to manage these individuals. And then lastly, it's going to be extremely hard to scale. Okay, we've talked about the reason why it's hard to scale. The reason it's hard to scale is because you're neglecting to learn the skill. The other reason that it's hard to scale is because these agencies are really expensive. All right, they're really, really expensive, and they usually take a very large cut of what you're asking for, right? So that's another thing. You're paying the price by not learning the skill. Not only are you paying the price and not learning the skill and not having the team that you want, but you're also paying the price financially, which is only going to continue to expedite the longer and longer you push off learning the skill. And I'm going to tie this all up. I have an analogy that I think will really hit home at the end, but I just want to continue on this rant for a little bit. You know, I've been doing this since 2015, and I've been growing a team since 2018. So that's 4 years going on my 5th year. And just never used an agency. I've always leaned into the uncomfortability of having to learn leadership, of having to learn how to manage. And the reason I did is because I had a mentor tell me, this is the most valuable skill. Once you start building a team, the most valuable skill is your ability to lead. You will only go as far as leadership. You will only go as far as your ability to hire. You will only go as far as your ability to train. You will only go as far as your ability to manage. I had leaders they are leaders, but I had mentors instill that in me over and over and over and over again. So I said, all right, if this is the next skill I have to learn, I already learned how to sell. I already learned how to lead gen. I already learned how to market. Sure, I can get better at these things. But if the next new skill I have to learn is to hire, to train, to manage, and to lead, I need to lean into that. And the only way to lean into that is the same way that I learned how to lead gen, is the same way that I learned how to market, it's the same way that I learned how to sell, which is I got to freaking do it myself. Okay. So that's why I've been so against agencies, is because there's just so much value in you learning this skill. All right, let's tie this together with a little analogy that I have. So obviously using an agency is a shortcut. Right? It's a shortcut. It buys back your time. You get the short-term pleasure. We talked about the long-term pain, but I think refusing to learn this skill is very similar to something that we teach our fitness clients, right? A lot of our fitness clients are trying to find the shortcut, the next pill, the next potion, the next quick diet, right? The next crazy exercise, the next thing where I could freeze the fat off my body or whatever it may be. But we all know what happens with those individuals that try all these shortcuts, shortcut after shortcut after shortcut after shortcut. They never actually reach their goal. They never actually see it through and actually reach the point that they want to reach. And the same thing is true here with the use of agencies. It's shortcut after shortcut after shortcut after shortcut. And if we continue to use these shortcuts, just like how individuals are using these shortcuts for their weight loss diets, it is just going to continue to get short-term result, pain, short-term result, pain, short-term result, pain. And every time you get back into that pain, it's going to grow, and 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 it's going to become harder. It's going to become harder, right? Just like the person trying to lose weight. I've tried this thing and failed. I've tried this thing and failed. I've tried this thing and failed. And what does that do to your mindset? It makes you think it's impossible. So hopefully that analogy hits. Hopefully that analogy opens up some eyes, because it is truly a short-term fix. And I'll wrap it up with saying this, because not all agencies are bad, but I think you have to learn the skill and learn the skill for a while. Like the point that I'm at now, right, where I have the full team, I have the 30 staff members. Sure, if we wanted to use an agency for 1 or 2 hires, we could probably do it because we already built in the skill, but I'm not going to do it to start. All right, so learn the skill. Don't do the shortcuts, just like we teach our fitness clients to not do the shortcuts. And I promise you will thank me later.